Why?
If you were to look at your like professional life, I'd be like, that guy doesn't unplug.
I look what I look like.
Yeah,
I am what I am.
It's true. I know.
There is no, rock is just going to disappear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who is that guy over there? Yeah.
But yeah, I need this kind of place. It's so nice to come and unplug and reset and really to see no one, because I feel like the moment I walk out the door, that's when the whirlwind starts.
Okay.
It kicks up.
Are you good at seeing people?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, am I an asshole, you mean?
Peaceful spot.
I'm glad you're here, man. You know, I don't have anybody ever come out.
I'm honored.
Do you know how to work the pole?
I think I know how to work the pole. Flip
go.
the baler, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Flip
Yeah.
the baler.
Oh, open the bail, right?
Uh-huh.
You got it. So open
right.
the bail.
Open the bail.
There you go.
And just toss it out, right?
Toss it out. Boom.
Oh.
Perfect.
Yes. What do you like about fishing?
The calmness of it. And I also like the strategy of it. When you try and figure out what lure to use, what time of day it is, what the weather's looking like, if it's overcast. Also, it was the thing that I was able to do with my old man. One of the things that we would do to spend time together, which wasn't a lot of stuff, but fishing was one of them.
Are those fond memories?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad, yeah, for sure.
Where would you guys fish?
We'd fish all over the place. So my dad was a pro wrestler. And back in the 70s and 80s, when wrestling wasn't as globalized or as monopolized as it is today, there were like these little promotions and like fiefdoms all around the country.
Uh-huh.
So we would stay in a city and in a town for maybe a year where he would wrestle locally and then pick up and move again. So to answer your question directly, we would fish all the time just on the road. I spent a lot of my childhood in the backseat of the car going from town to town as he wrestled, and we'd always carry fishing poles in the trunk, and as we're rolling along the highway, if we saw a body of water somewhere, he'd be like, hey, let's stop and fish.
What was that like for you, just being somewhere new all the time?
It was challenging as a kid growing up, like moving every year and a half. At that time in pro wrestling in the 80s and 70s, you had about a year and a half run in whatever wrestling promotion you were in, and then you hit the road and you go to another state. And that's what we did.
See if you could cast it right over there.
Yeah, like right underneath that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Watch this. Oh, look out.
Let me see.
I like literally got to walk and go get that. Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, look at that. All right. No, hell, my pride is wounded now. We got to get back.
You got to. You got to.
We got to do it.
And let it go sooner. Boom. There you go. Perfect. Nice.
Thank you. I can see why your kids are good at this. The instruction's immaculate.
Thank you, sir.
What was your father like as a teacher?
It was tough love with him. Very little patience with shit, like one of these guys. And he came up in an era where he had to fight for everything. Black pro wrestler at that time in the 60s and 70s, mainly throughout the South. So, you can imagine not only in the South, but then pro wrestling. And at that time, that pro wrestling crowd was not what it is today. Today, it's very diverse.
Right.
Back then, pro wrestling.
Super white.
Super white.
Yeah.
Super white. Super white. So he, very little patience. Nice cast. There we go.
Very little patience.
Very little patience, but raised me with a tough hand. Physical, didn't beat my ass or anything like that, but just our bonding was, at a very young age, was you could come to the gym with me at 5 and 6 years old, but you just got to sit.
Right.
So I just sat in the gym and just watched him and his wrestler workout buddies just work out. And then, but 6, 7, 8, what he would do, then after he was done working out, he would take me on the wrestling mats at the gym. Because usually he was at a YMCA or a boys club or something like that. And that's when he would, he beat my ass that way in terms of teaching me wrestling, basics and things like that. I think the connective tissue between my childhood growing up and what I do today is performing for sure, watching my dad perform and just being around an audience, even if it was a small audience at that time. But also, I think just growing up in the way that I did and having to grow up very fast. By the time I hit 13, 14, 15, a lot of shit went down in my life.
Interesting that you keep saying 13 because that's the age that your dad left home too, right? That he was kind of thrown out of his house by his mother, right?
Yes.
You've talked about this. It's interesting that you kind of also associate kind of 13 with a...
Yeah, with incredible, I think, challenge and discomfort at that time.
Yeah.
My dad, yes, you did your research. Thank you for saying that. So you have an awesome relationship with your dad, which I love, by the way. I told you that when we were fishing. I'm like, dude, that's so good. When you're thrown out at 13 and your mom picks her boyfriend over you, that's a hard place to come back from. And that will inform how you love people and what you care for in life and how you care about people. So it was really fucked up. That really damaged my dad. So his limited capacity to love is what raised me.
How do you think he felt about your success, given that, you went into his business?
I don't think he liked it.
Really?
No.
No.
No, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Sure. It's okay because contextually, he was kicked out at 13. That informed how he loved. That informed his empathy, his capacity, all these things. I didn't realize that until much later. So we fought. He didn't want me to get into it. And then when I got into it, things were different. And then I wound up having the career that I had. And he was proud, but he also wrestled with a lot of my success. And I know that as his son. And that's okay because of his capacity.
A lot of people would be angrier than you seem to be.
It's different though, Zach, because my dad, he's walking in the clouds now. And I think when he was around, my perspective on this was different. And we had still a contentious, kind of complicated relationship when he was alive. And it would be loving, it would be complicated, loving, complicated. It would vacillate back and forth all the time. So when he dies suddenly,
4 years ago, yeah.
4 years ago, and you don't get a chance to say goodbye, you don't get a chance to write the shit that you want to write, meaning make it right. You look at things differently. And now it's like anybody who loses somebody, and you're like, man, the shit I used to be upset about, it's really not that important. So while you still have your dad around, who is retiring now, he's going to love seeing this, after a great career in medicine, take advantage of that time.
What do you feel like you inherited from him, for good or for good or for bad?
Sure. One of the most important things that I learned from my dad is that regardless of your circumstances, even if things are fucked up around you, you can change that by going to work. Hold on. Let me see that, Zach. Let me see that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think something over there. Let me see.
You always throw them back?
I do.
You've never been like, it's trout for dinner?